Kia ora, and welcome to episode 2 of Waihipi Forage, coming to you from a Kauri grove on Waiheke Island. I am convener for Waiheke Spinners and Weavers and store manager for New Zealand Fabrics and Yarn. Join me today on my adventures of knitting, spinning, eco-dyeing and a tiny house build. So today I will start off with my first project that's in timeout at the moment. This little timeout project I showed you last episode is this beautiful possum merino glove. You can see the possum just gleaming in the sunlight. So this one, the first glove went no problem. Second glove, I'm having trouble with yarn overs at the beginning of the thumb. I've unpicked it 5 times, so yeah, it's going in timeout until further notice. It's in this beautiful leaf bag that I've made, and here's a little sheet from Carol that I got from retreat last week. This bag is linen. My friend Lynsey Champion makes hats on Waiheke Island, and with her offcuts I sometimes get them. So this was half the size. I sewed the centre together so to make a bigger piece of fabric, and did some freeform embroidery over the top of the bag, and it's a sweet little bag, fully lined, and has one of my favourite knitting project bags. So that one is in timeout until further notice. Works in progress. So in another little project bag, this is fabric that we have at New Zealand Fabrics and Yarn. It's from a New Zealand fabric company. Seriously, bunnies and mushrooms. What can you say? This little project bag has a divider in the middle, great for a 2-ball project. There are little yarn guides here so that the yarn can go through freely. This is the beginning of the Doodler shawl, and I'm using the most sexy yarn in the universe. This is from Clementine threads, and I have Saffron Kitten, and the other colour is Jade Emperor. They are the 2 colours that I'm using. There is another colour that I'm using, I'll put a picture in here of it, and that is Hey Fishy Fishy. I started this in June. This is my freeform hand spun singles jumper. This was inspired by my friend Annette Montgomery. It was a blend, and I stripped out the colours and spun them so I could get solid blocks of colour. I dyed this speckled merino from Tally Ho. Love the back as well. So I'll be finishing this off with a crochet edge to tidy up the edge, and putting in a few more inclusions of some art yarn. So here's some art yarn that I knit in there, and another art yarn right there. So that one I've only got a gusset and a few bits and pieces to finish off. Project I started last night. This is Caitlin Hunter's Swoncho. This is a top-down project. I'm using possum merino from Skeins and silver linings Chatham Island merino, which is a rare breed. I'll tell you more about Chatham Island merino. And the colours I'll be using of silver linings is the clear view blue, greenstone, and the silver linings old rose. So those 3 colours are going to be in the Swoncho. We're using 3 balls. These are 200 grams each, 400 metres in a ball. I'll be using about 3 in this project, and these colours, a few more balls of these colours. So that is my work on the needles at the moment. Now, finished objects. At the moment I'm wearing my foraging cape, this one here. This is a possum and merino from Naturally. I will slip in some pictures that I took at Paderi Creasy on the weekend. The pattern here is by Squiddly Knits. It is a leaf caplet. The pattern calls for a 10 ply. I've used an 8 ply on 5mm needles, and I'm bang on gauge, and it's just beautiful and light and warm. It's just lovely to wear. Perfect for foraging. Another foraging project that I've finished. I've sewn on the straps for my felted bag, And this one I showed you last episode, it shrunk about 30% from the original size. I'm looking forward to making another. I'm actually going to take these off and do a different design. I've decided this strap is a bit too long, but I've just come up with some ideas, so watch this space for this finished object. Another Creative Fibres Festival in Gisborne in May this year. My friend Isla was exhibiting some beautiful hand-spun wire creations, which has inspired me to create something which I'd like to share with you today. So here we go. This is a hand-painted wine box. As you can see, it's even got some accidental glitter, which is easy to do in my house. So there we go. This is, and it has a surprise inside. Take this off, and there we have it. This says, if you can read it right there, I desire no more. So this is hand spun, coarse spun over a wire. It is merino, bamboo, mohair and silk. So I made it into a basket. I actually double knitted the basket and then decreased and just made this beautiful artwork that's going into my tiny house. Isn't it beautiful? So yeah, this is, I know I'm trying to keep, defragging, but I keep on making more art. Can't help myself. I did a workshop with Kurt Payne on tweed carding, and I will show you I've been doing some spinning of the samples that we did in the class. So this first sample here is, we threw all the colours together. Yeah, we can see all those beautiful colours. And I woolen spun this one. Then the same colours, we carded this one. There's a bit more of this one. Again, woolen spun, and we carded this 3 times. So there's more of a blend of the colours. And this was woolen spun. So I'll knit this up so next time you'll be able to see what that looks like. And then we did our own recipe. Of course, naturally, I chose mine to be green. And as you can see, there's bits of, there seems to be what looks like, yeah, a little bit of red in there. Purple, blue, and a smidgen of black. I carded this about 3 times because I was having so much fun on the Major Craft carder. There's 100 grams here. I might make a hat, something like that, and see how this, this knits up. Beautiful. I think this will be about 10 or 12 ply possibly. This was a fun workshop to do, and I did a workshop with Annette Montgomery, and we did art yarn. This is a fake plying technique that she invented herself. This is a semi-felted yarn. So the single is spun, coarse spun, and then we plied it with a contrasting colour. So I've got 2 skeins of this. Watch this space to what I do with it. I'll be great in weaving. And this is the other one here, slightly different. So that was our workshop for spinning. The workshop I taught was a modern Irish crochet, freeform crochet class. This is a freeform mesh. So what we do is tack this onto fabric, so we can take this project anywhere and create the mesh to link the motifs together. These are still, I'm still working out if I want them there or not. So this workshop will be teaching again at Creative Fibres retreat in September. So if you live in Auckland and belong to Creative Fibre and want to learn an interesting Irish crochet technique, you know where to find us. 18th of August I have a lace workshop where you will be learning to knit lace in the round. And here it is, I've got lifelines and provisional cast-ons, and this is a little project here where we are going to be using stitch markers, Ice Queen, which is on Ravelry. I had to re-knit this last week because I made a mistake. Now we have lifelines in place, so we should be right. So over the weekend I was able to lock down a date with Annette Montgomery for an up and coming workshop on eco dyeing. It is an eco dyeing forage workshop. We'll be learning all sorts of different techniques dyeing onto fabric, and this is on silk. This one here is actually on cotton, and I have used iron as a mordant. So marigolds and pahutakawa are mostly on this. So that workshop is coming up on the 11th of November through Creative Fibre. We'll be holding that at the Horticultural Society in Auckland. So if you want to get in touch with us, I'll leave the link in the description below so you can book in. There's limited spaces for this workshop. Helen went to England a few months ago and brought me back a special treat. I'd been listening to Knit British podcast, and I have learnt a lot about British yarns. So proud owner of some Cornish blacker yarn. Very excited. I thought I'd tell you why I've chosen the name Why Hippie. Back in 2014 I was wondering what to call my Instagram account, and that day we had just had a te reo knit in public at Ringawera in Rocky Bay, a little bakery, and Henny Moa had put a lot of te reo posters all over the bakery while we were doing our knitting in public, and I made a little packet of te reo knitting words, and I realised that hippie means sheep, and my friends often call me Wai Hippie, so I thought I'd combine those two things because I'm into spinning and I live on Waiheke, and so Wai Hippie was born. And Wai Forage, I'm an upcycler, and with my eco dyeing and my spinning I like to try all sorts of different things. So that is basically how Wai Hippie came about. I will share with you today Easter time when I went on a tiny house adventure. Morning. It's an early start to check out Build Tiny and the Millennial Tiny House. So I'm heading off to the ferry. A friend's picking me up, and we're going to start on the tiny house adventure. So here I am, in Caddy, and here's the tiny house. So yeah, I arrived, and let's have a look inside, shall we? Here we go. So here we are at New Zealand Fabrics and Yarn. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the skeins yarn that I'm using and the Caitlin Hunter Swoncho. It is a heritage yarn, and it is from a merino from the Chatham Islands, which arrived at the Chatham Islands in 1841. Now the merino is a very adaptable sheep, and we have quite a few little pockets of feral sheep throughout New Zealand because of geographic isolation. They've developed their own characteristics, and skeins have done this wonderful thing with the yarn. They've separated it from the main clip, and so this rare yarn here isn't going to disappear into the main clip of merino. It is a super fine merino, and see some of the colours that we have in stock, and there comes this yarn avalanche, happens a lot around here. So this one here is triangle red, so you can see, there we go, and we have greenstone, this one is Clifton stone, and do it the right way again, so beautiful colour there. And then we have Clearview blue. This is one of the colours I'm using in my Swoncho. Then we have Mr. Grey. This is one of the new colours. I just have to reach up a bit here for the last two. This one is Old Rose. And this one is Korokipo Rose. A beautiful pink colour. So that is the silver lining yarn. Ta-da! So welcome to New Zealand Fabrics and Yarn. This is my other happy place apart from the Kauri Grove, and I'll just give you a quick tour around the shop. So here we have all the possum yarns from Outlaw, Zelana, Naturally, Touch as well, sock yarn, a few balls of indie sock yarn, and then we have our 4-plies. Here's all our 8-plies, and then we have the imported section. Over here we have all our needles, embroidery, knitting needles, crochet hooks, and here we have all of our fabrics. Hope you enjoyed this quick tour. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. I'd like to give a shout out to Golf Internet for sponsoring my podcast. Thank you very much. I'll leave a link down below so you can find them if you're local to Waiheke Island or Rikino Island. Follow me on Instagram. I am Waihippie. On Ravelry I am Woolfaery. And please subscribe, hit the button,